Hi, I'm Paige. My presentation is over psychotechnics. Psychotechnics is the term used in Europe for applied psychology. An introduction to psychotechnics. Psychotechnics was used in Europe to improve the workplace for people. So they use special techniques and tests to help people see if they were suited for jobs or help just improve the workplace environment. It was really popular in business in the Americas and in Europe in around the 1920s. In America, they used pen and paper tests. This made it easier and cheaper to test multiple people at a time. They also used just really simple laboratory techniques like reaction time. In Europe, they got a little bit more fancy and they used special apparatus that were made for whatever job that you were specifically doing. Um, some people had concerns and questions about psychotechnics because they saw it as using science to help businesses make more money. Some of the tests that were used in Europe for psychotechnics was the ability to control instinctive impulses, which is pictured on the top right. In this picture, the psychologist is holding on to a piece of glass and he taps it with a rubber hammer right in front of the potential employee to see if they'll flinch. So he said if you didn't flinch, you could control your instinctive impulses. Another one was attention and memory. So down on the bottom right is a tachydoscope. This was a device that allowed researchers to display visual stimuli at very precise intervals so that you could control how long that the person was seeing the pattern. So they would show them a pattern of shapes and they would have to recall what shape and in what orientation it was in. Stability of the nervous system. They tested this with pilots. They would actually shoot a gun right behind their head to see how they could control their nervous system. Sensitivity to movement. This one was used with drivers. The experimenter would move a crank, and then the potential employee would have to mimic these movements. Hugo Munsterberg was a big deal in psychotechnics. He published a book called Psychology and Industrial Efficiency. He at first was not going to do any applied psychology because he felt that it would discredit everything that they had worked for to make psychology into a science. Eventually, he got over this. He thought of techniques to help organizations find employees that were suited for the jobs that they needed done. He also wanted to help individual people to find what job was best for them. A way that he did this was the photoplay. The photoplay was a little short thing, a psychological test that Paramount Pictures partnered with him and showed in the movie theater. He thought this was a great idea because it would show normal people just what skills they had that could potentially be used in the workplace. So it's kind of like a self-analysis. He had some problems with Paramount Pictures because they wanted to change his tests to make them more entertaining. The only problem with this was Munsterberg acknowledged that it would probably change the results that he got. So the illustration on this slide shows a test that he did where the letters are jumbled up and the person needs to put them back in the correct order. Well, Paramount thought it would be more entertaining to have the letters brought in with animated characters, but Munsterberg obviously acknowledged that that would distract the person from the actual test. So, this is a quote from Munsterberg. He said, "What has psychology to do in a laboratory? What part has she in instruments and experiments?" I think this is a very applicable to today because a lot of the focus on psychology that I have studied is very focused on counseling and very much applied psychology. And I do know people that want to be researchers and experimental psychologists, but I feel like the main course is applied psychology. So now we're going to look at what influence psychotechnics had on the psychology that we know today. Organizational psychology has strong ties to psychotechnics. It helps organizations and psychologists understand and improve the workplace using the scientific method. Not only does it help the organization be more efficient, it also helps the individual not only be better at their job, but also be happier in their job. I think this definitely mirrors Munsterberg's efforts because he had the same goal in mind to improve the organizations and also to find the best employees for those organizations. And he also wanted people to pick career paths that were suited for them. According to the American Psychological Association and the U.S. Department of Labor, there's a 26% growth rate for opportunities for employment of industrial and organizational psychologists. So you can see how big of an impact psychotechnics and applied psychology has had on the psychology of today. And that's it. Thank you.